Okay, this is now I'm going through a different use cases. This is more a process, and here I only have one use case of tax traceability, but I'm going to let you know two different tax traceability that we are performing in different countries that are very interesting. In that case, this use case that we are seeing, it was a company that they were the distributor. This distributor was a company which they were related to the government in Chile, and they wanted to have the traceability of all the invoices that they are performing between the labs and the different hospitals. They were distributor or pharma products, but I have put them in the public sector because they were related to the government. Then currently this public company, they were in charge of all the logistics of the medicine in Chile and had a little automation certification of the billing, and they wanted to certify each invoice that they were issued by them in order to be 100% transparent to the public government in terms of the calculation of the taxes. Okay. The idea, the first and priority was to start and to have a process 100% digital audit in order to have those reconciliation between the public details and the real details, and to really see that there wasn't any fraud. I don't know if you remember, guys, that in the first lesson, we were saying that one of the main benefits of this blockchain is to avoid fraud, and this is one of the use cases. As benefit here, as when saying that helps company was the automation of the collection and payment, to have all the traceability because it was clear, to have an instant check. But also we were performing another tax traceability use cases. This is in Mexico, and these kind of use cases, there's two different use cases. First use case is that in Mexico there is a retail company. In Mexico, in order to calculate your taxes, you needed to really have the certification that the client has paid for the amount that he has to pay. And after he received the payment and everything is reconciled, you can calculate the tax of this selling of this invoice. Okay. Then nowadays, this process in this company, they are using around 2 and 3 weeks from the moment they issue an invoice. There is a process where someone is going to the client, someone is receiving the money from the client. This guy is taking this money to another company from the group to do the reconciliation of the purchase order, of the goods sold, and the payment received. And those information, when everything is clear and certified, will be sent to the main company to calculate the taxes. With the traceability and with the blockchain, we were able to help them to identify in real time when the client has paid the invoice and he has paid the order that he asked for. Then we were able to reduce in 100% the process from the moment that this purchase order has been going through the system, and the guy who is collecting the money from the client, he can certify that he received the amount of the invoice and he's paying 100% of the invoice. At that moment, in real time, this company will be able to see that this invoice has been paid. Then they can start calculate the taxes for this invoice. Later on, part of the process need to be continued to be done, okay? But at least all those reconciliation between the invoice and the payment, it will be already done in real time. And this is very important. Why? Because, for example, in Mexico, each time you issue an invoice, the government is issue identification number of the invoice in order to have control of all the invoices that you have been performed during the year, because that they will do an estimation of how much you will have to pay in taxes. Then the thing that we have done with them is, okay, when I issue an invoice, and this invoice, a lot of things can happen. For example, this invoice can be paid, perfect. Second thing that can happen, this invoice can be canceled because the client canceled the product. Or you have to re-invoice because there is a manual error from your side. For example, you invoice something at a specific price and you forget to place the discount that you promised to the client. You know, a lot of things can happen during the process. Then the problem is, if you are not able to link your ID invoice and the ID invoice of the government, at the end of the quarter, the government, they will let you know, okay, you owe me, I don't know, $1 million, okay? And because you don't have the link and the traceability of their invoice and your invoice, and you don't really understand what was happening with your invoices during the process, you won't be able to really reconcile this amount. And of course, as you can imagine, if a government is asking you for money, you will pay it. And maybe when you are able to reconcile after a month, you saw that maybe you should have been paid 10%, 20% less. No? Then the idea is, with the blockchain, is to help those companies to go through the process, to really understand what's happened with their invoice, and to see if this invoice has been paid, if this invoice has been canceled, if this invoice has been reinvoiced because something has happened, as I was saying. And you can link it with the ID from the government. Then you can show in real time, in a certified way to the government, okay, see, all those invoices that have been sent during the last quarter, as you can see, 75% has been paid, 25% has been canceled, 15% has been canceled, and 10% has been reinvoiced. And the reinvoice, look, the new reinvoice that have been performed. I have everything linked with your ID, and at the end you can see that and with the smart contract, you can automatize and calculate the invoice, the taxes that you will have to pay. Then this is the real estimation that I have to pay to you, and of course I will pay to you back. Then, as you can see, this is another way to use the traceability of processes, because it allows you to be very agile, and when a lot of things are happening during the process, you will be able to trace it, to make it real, to make it certified, and to give a trust not only to governments, a trust. The main important thing is that a data trust that you will use to start making business decisions for your company. Okay, now I'm going through a completely different sector, something that is happening a lot all across the countries. I've seen a lot of different use cases, like not only in Europe, in Latin, in the States. We are starting doing in countries like India, yeah, and it's something very interesting. It's agro traceability. Okay, imagine that you are able to trace those products that you are going to buy in the supermarket. Imagine here there are two different use cases in the same one. First use cases from my point of view is those agriculture companies are giving a transparency to the world of the product that they are using in order to create their product. What is exactly the product that they are selling, how it has been produced, how much time they spend, as I was saying, which product, if they are sustainable or not sustainable, if they are complying with the regulation. They will give them the opportunity also to avoid intermediaries and to start selling, for example, in e-commerce to the final client, as we can see us. And I don't know, imagine yourself going to the supermarket, taking your mobile phone, going to buy some bananas, some apples, some cucumber. You will scan the QR code in the product, and you can see the history about the farm, the history about the producer, the history about the product, no? To really understand where it comes from, which product has been used in order to produce it. And that will give you a trust that sometimes we are losing when we are going to the supermarket, because you can see different prices. And then maybe if you would like to pay more price for a specific product, you will really understand why you are paying more, for example, for a specific kind of apples and other kind of apples. Right? You will really understand why you are paying for that. Then here you can trace, as a producer, you can trace the product, as we are saying, or you can trace the process of production. And that, for example, here in Spain, we are having a lot of issues, and there are other producers are on the media, and they are blaming them because they are destroying one part of the coast, of the east coast in Spain. Then with this kind of technology, you will give them the opportunity to really see if it is true that because of how they are producing, they are making a very bad environmental impact, or you can demonstrate that this impact is because other different actors and is not because the agriculture producers. And also, when you are able to start giving this traceability from the origin in the producers, you can add those supply chain distribution process, and they will give you the opportunity, those big companies, to be more efficient. For example, when you are able to keep, this is a real use case, for example, Carrefour in Spain, when you are going to buy some chicken and some eggs, you can see the QR code, and they can show you all the traceability of the eggs and of the chicken that you are going to buy. And the most important thing is they were able to reduce a lot of amount of money because of the time, because of they were able to onboard 9 different suppliers in the same platform to start working together. Then imagine all those emails and reconciliation numbers, figures, operation that they were reducing. And yeah, and this is huge. Then from my personal point of view, those agro traceability will start being a very success use case. But there is a big issue also in these kind of use cases, is that I don't remember if you remember the slide where I was saying how the participant can be connected to the blockchain and can be connected to the use case. And this is important because this agro sector is at the moment, and normally, they are not a very digitalized sector. That means that a lot of things that you would like to do it, you are not able to do it because they don't have the tools already deployed on the ground to give and to trace this data. No, then nowadays a lot of companies are working to have those companies to start to digitalize a lot of the processes in order, and later on, when those process has been digitalized, then they will be able to connect with a traceability a traceability solution in order to give those information to the real world. And not only in the agro, also in the fishing market, and also not only take into account to really have to show to the final customer the origin, but also to demonstrate to the regulation that you are compliant with all those specific regulations that this kind of sector they have, and they are very restrictive. For example, and also imagine when some of the specific boxes it has been produced in a bad way, and the product is not correct, and you need to identify where it has been said in order to stop it and take it out from the market. With the blockchain technology, this is already happening. They are able to understand and to know and to a little bit to trace, okay, these different boxes, it has been sent to different countries, and to understand maybe to which supermarket has been selling. But this reconciliation process to really identify these different products is taking some time. And if they were doing in the blockchain, they were able to see in real time where they were being sold. The next step, but this is going to be very difficult, that would be amazing, that as I can imagine, if we have our digital identity in the countries, maybe you will be able to confirm and to have the traceability to the final client. Then it will be easy for, if for example a product of chicken, it has been in a bad condition, they will able to really contact you and say, okay, be careful, stop eating, or please do not eat, blah 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 blah. And this is also this kind of technology is the only way that you can do this kind of things. Okay, now I'm going to show you very different use cases, very interesting use cases. But yeah, maybe when you are starting listening to me these use cases, you would say, okay, why do I need blockchain? And it is true. I will explain. I will go through and I will explain when do you need blockchain and when don't you need blockchain. But it's important that you think this is a very big company, a retail beer company, and they want to start placing the first basements to start using this technology with a specific process, and later on to continue growing and to continue interact with the blockchain and different processes. Okay, this is a very common process that this kind of company had. This is the pricing update when they made some discount to their client. How do they do nowadays? Currently, they use artificial intelligence machine to calculate, taking into account the different needs of the cities, to calculate which is going to be the discount by zone and by distributor. When they have already these prices, those prices are sent to the different distributors. In that case, we are talking about a project that it is in Mexico. Then when you go to those kind of countries, the volume it's so high, then it's in these kind of companies and countries where the volume and the different participants is so high, blockchain technology is a very helpful technology to tackle the pain points and the issues. Then this company, they have 243 distributors. Then when they calculated the actual discount that they have to be performed by zone, they send it to the distributors. Those distributors are taking from a specific application are taking the discount and they are filling up a specific Excel to apply their discount in the SIP program. Then they send it to this application, and someone later on is checking by one zone that those discount has been applied correctly. As you can imagine, as you are understanding, there are a lot of manual process in this specific process, and it's taking too long. Only from the origin, they are taking the data. From the guy is checking the prices, is taking around 3-4 days. Later on, this guy, after checking it, is uploaded to SIP. SIP is the main core information system, and it's normal because it's where all the invoice will be issued and where everything has to be through SIP. But from the moment that the guy is checking the operations and is sending to the SIP, there is a SLA between the different departments that in less than 72 hours, everything has to be updated in the SIP. Later on, for example, imagine that this discount has been updated at 10 a.m. Later on, the SIP, at the end of the day, it will update the different applications where their clients are doing the purchase order. And when everything is updated at 3 a.m. at night, then all the information will be updated in all the different systems. Okay, what's happened? First of all, there is a lot of manual process. Second of all, they don't have the traceability of the 243 distributors and what data they are changing. Then for the manual process, some of the things has to be continued like this, but at least we have been put technology blockchain in order to certify which data is registered by each distributor. Then we can have the traceability of the last document that it has been updated. Then because those distributors are different companies, not the same company. And then each time, for example, if the distributor wants to check, he can check in real time which was the Excel with the last data and all the information. Then you can avoid a lot of manual errors that is happening at the moment. Then after everything is traced and everything is okay, you know that those data are correct and you can identify in the first step. You won't need this guy checking that this amount has been posted in a specific way. And in real time with our smart contract, we will take the data from the system, from this specific application, and we will send it to SIP, okay? Then we will destroy it, we will avoid to spend no more than 72 hours of having this SIP updated, okay? That's another synergy that we are doing with those smart contracts. And I won't stop there. I will take this smart contract from the origin that this distributor has changed their data, and also I will update the different platform of purchase order from the different clients. In this specific client, they have 4 different applications due to the big volume and different zones that they are selling. Then in real time, I will have avoid the manual errors. I will have update the SAP where all the invoice will be issued. I will update in real time at the same time as I have been updated the SAP. I will update the different platform. Then at that moment in time, someone is doing a purchase order, they will have the same price as you have in SAP. That this is the issue, that it was not happening right now. The problem right now was because it was taking too long, all the process, and you had a lot of different manual errors. When someone was asking you for a purchase order, for a new order, maybe the price that he was buying is completely different that they has to buy it and that the one that the commercial guy has promised to him. Then later on, the company has to reinvoice and to restart a reinvoice process with this client because the process was not done in a proper way. Currently, there is approximately $30 million in billing, which are reinvoiced every month because of this issue. And this is only made because they don't have the traceability, they have a lot of manual errors, and the SIP and the different applications are not updated at the same time. Then they are facing a lot of issues, and each time they're doing our invoices, the process starts again. The benefits in that case, we have helped them to create a system where through all the different smart contracts, as you can see here, both the billing system, the SIP system, and the rest of the platform will be updated in a correct displays of the price to be purchased. In the second step, that will help that the ecosystem of the clients, they will have all the discount that they have been promised in real time. And as I said, this is the first step where this kind of company, they wanted to use blockchain. The next step is to onboard, not to think only in an internal process, because this is mainly not 100% because you have all those distributors, but this is mainly internal errors, and that's they want to avoid in order to have those processes more efficient and to give a better service to their clients. The second step is to onboard to this process to the client. If they do that, when the price will be changed in your system, they will be changed also automatically in the system of the client, okay, because they will have a peer, and those peers, they will have the same information. Then when they can have in real time when the model of pricing has been changed, they don't need to take time for the distributors to change the price. Directly the client will have it, and they will kind of start having a blockchain ecosystem with the client and having to automatize additional use cases. This first use case, as I was saying, this internal, it helps the company to decrease in 95% of the rebills. Then from the 30 million of invoices, and this is the direct impact. But thinking about the case, as I was telling you before, regarding the tax traceability in Mexico, because you have a invoice, the tax has to be calculated again. Then you have a lot of indirect department that only because, no, not only because, it's because this is the main process of the company. A lot of direct KPIs, it will be returned to your company. In terms of direct, you are able to reduce 95% of the rebill, you are able to reduce manual errors, you are able to reduce the core process in 6-8 days in real time. You will have the real-time traceability, this kind made by zone. You will decrease significantly the hours dedicated by the different teams in the back office for this specific process. You will have the real-time reconciliation, and you will have everything digital audit. But this is, as I said, the direct benefit. Later, you will have the indirect benefit that could be because you don't have to invoice $30 million every month. This will impact to your treasury, because each time that you are invoicing, it means that you will have to restart all the process. That maybe will take 2, 3, 4, 5 more days. Then 2, 3, 4, 5 more days that the client won't pay you, and if don't pay you, you will have to fund it, this treasury part of the business. And if you are and you have some loans in the bank, you will have to pay interest. And for example, nowadays that the interest has going up a lot in all the countries, that means that the price that you were paying maybe 2 years ago for the same funding that you are doing now is 20-30% higher than 2 years ago. Then it's very important. And also the traceability of the taxes. It will be more efficient, and you will be able to reduce costs in the teams, in the time that they're spending in other sector, in other departments, as can be taxes, can be the internal audit, and a lot of different departments. Okay. I hope you are enjoying these different use cases. I'm going to the last one. It's this is also a real. This is not a case that I have performed. This is a case that I know and how it has been performed during the process. And nowadays it's something funny, but all along the countries, all of us, we are buying different. You are hiring your Wi-Fi at your company, at your house. When all of you know how the process works, and you know that you are hiring something, and this is a lot of paper bureaucracy that we can digitalize, but I'm not gonna go through this process. I think that can be a specific process that can be digitalized and helpful with blockchain, but I'm not gonna focus on this one. But I'm gonna focus on the router. The router, each time the router is not coming back to the company is losing around 30-35 euros of this product. Okay, and they have a problem in the stock. They have a problem in the P&L because they're losing a lot of money, and that's why in a lot of countries, each time now that you are not returning the router, they are trying to ask you to pay, depending on the country, from 80 to 100 euros. And this is because each time, as I was saying, you are not returning the router, they are losing money. Maybe you are thinking, okay, but only 35 euros, 30 euros is not much money. But if you think how many routers has been selling not only to retail, but also to companies, the amount starts to be very, 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 very huge. Okay. Then in that case, there is a telco that they decided to start to onboard to the same ecosystem to all the different participants of the process. Okay, and those participants, they started from the telco, from the supplier of the router, the telco, that they will buy the router to the supplier, or they will create it, but normally they buy it because it's a different company who created it. Those companies that normally they are working for the telco companies, but they are not their own companies, that they go to your house or your office and they do all the installation process of the router and the Wi-Fi. Of course, the client, they will ask to the final client to collaborate in the process, and later on they will, that there are some specific shops where you can return it, no? And those shops, they will also collaborate in terms of the process to really see in the specific milestone if the router has been returned or not. And not only in the returning process, but also if a router has been damaged, you can call your telco company. You will say, okay, I have an issue. They will take the router back and they will fix it. And this router will go again. They go out to the market. Then it's also very important to know, because those kind of product, they have a life, a real usage life, where it's very important to have the traceability of when it has been produced, if it has been damaged and fixed during the time or not, and to have all those traceability. But if I'm still focusing on the first part, that okay, I'm not gonna do any damage, there is someone like me that is going to buy it, is coming to my home, then I hire a product, then I hire the Wi-Fi, someone is coming to my home to set it up. Then at that moment in time, the installation company will certify that which is the exactly street where it has been put it in and installed, the router. I can collaborate in the ecosystem, and I can confirm that at that date, at that time, there was a guy coming to my home and setting up the Wi-Fi. And later on, if the time pass and I want to change my telco company, for example, then I want to return it, or maybe I'm too lazy, I don't want to return it. But if I want to return it, I will bring it to the shop. The shop will certify that who is my identification number that I have returned. But if I didn't return it, at least the telco company, they will know, okay, the router with ID 11111111, it was installed in Miguel's house at that time, but he changed the telco because he finished his contract with us, and but he didn't return the router. Then I will be able to call him to ask for it. And this is something that maybe a lot of you think, okay, but this kind of process, they can already do it. Normally, we would think that those big telcos, yes, they are able to do it, but the truth is they don't have this traceability. When the router is going out from their stock warehouse and someone is taking it, they are not able to identify, or maybe at the end, with a lot of work, performing a lot of analysis in their systems and different Excels, maybe finally they could have this information. But as you can imagine, is when you're having thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of clients, and nowadays is a commodity. I mean, it's a service that a lot of us, we are changing. I'm not gonna say every year, but maybe almost every 2 years. Is a lot of work to perform that is a waste of time in terms of it will be much higher the cost to do those reconciliation process that the routers that I'm losing. However, they decided to do it in a specific country, and they have demonstrated that only for these first use cases, they were able to reduce the stock optimization about 45%. They were able to reduce the claim around 95% of the clients regarding the incidents that they had during the process. The reduction of waste routers, they were about 40 and 45% also. Then they had the end-to-end traceability of the whole process in real time. And of course, as we have been saying, as a benefit of the blockchain, they were able to control, to mitigate bad practices. They were able to save a lot of cost and time in all the operation, and they were able to automatize. But the very important thing here is, you think like a router, how can be so important to the companies? Because at the end, it's a product with they lose a lot of money. And making an ecosystem between all the different participants and having the information in real time, it gives you the opportunity to start making business decisions. For example, another use case that I forgot to put here, and I'm so sorry, but I will let you know. It's a use case that we have performed in Mexico too, in an insurance company. This use case, the idea was to put in place a blockchain platform where the insurance company and the doctors that they were doing surgery, they were asking for a refund of the time, of the money that the need has to be paid according to their contract, because normally this kind of business, a lot of doctors, they are being refunded by a specific insurance company, depending on the amount, depending on what kind of surgery they have been performed. Then the problem was here that all the doctors, according to the main clause of the contract between the insurance company and the doctor, was that the insurance company has to pay in less than 48 hours all the different, I'm not going to say claims, all the different items that the doctors are asking to be refunded to. Then the doctors were, I'm going to say, very clever, no? And they started to upload it on the system, on their old system. They were used to upload it, all the information, on Friday night. Then the problem is that the insurance company, they wasn't working on Saturday and Sunday. Then in 48 hours, they need to pay the refund of the invoices. Then the insurance company employees, they had to go on Monday very early to analyze all the different documents that the doctors has been uploaded during the Friday, and to see if are correct and they are complying with the rules between all contracts. As you can imagine, if you have been a lot of information uploaded in the same time, it's 100% impossible to analyze before the due date of the payment. Then, due to the blockchain, they were able to keep this traceability, where these guys, they were uploaded in a very multiple way, and the blockchain here was using as a police officer to ask them, okay, now every time you are uploading something, you know that you cannot change. And then what was the problem? When they had those information in real time, we started to, well, the company started to analyze it with big data. And they realized that there were a lot of doctors that they were uploading same different invoices, and they were saying that they were doing surgery in different cities at the same time. Then, as you can imagine, this is something impossible, because not only they were different hospitals in the same city, but we found that they were cities with 5 kilometers far away, and they were asking to refund. They were uploading the same documentation for those different surgery, and maybe it was only one surgery, but they were doing fraud, and they were asking like 3 or 4 times the money to be refunded. Then, because we were able to connect this platform, we were able to, of course, to mitigate all this fraud, but to go and this insurance company to demonstrate to them the dispute, because it is true that here in the blockchain is only in a certified way to give you this security that every document has been uploaded at the time. And later, if you are going to have a dispute with your doctors or your different client, they cannot comply about that, because everything is certified, and I cannot change it. I mean, this is a trusted platform for everyone, not only for the insurance company, but also for all the different doctors that they are filling up all the information. Yes, okay, then here, in order to sum up with the class, as you can see, the introduction of blockchain. This is a huge technology that allows you at the moment to do a lot of things. They have a lot of benefits, but nowadays the engineers, in order to make it better, they are working on the data volume and scalability of the blockchain network. That is something to be fixed. We hope in the few months, very short term. But the idea that I want you to guys in this lesson that you understand is, okay, how does it work? And that give you a real perspective of how blockchain can help not only not only for a specific use case that you are hearing in the market as supply chain, cryptos or NFTs. You know that every company and every process, they have a specific thing that blockchain maybe can help. As we saw in the first lesson, blockchain is not necessary for everything. I mean, you need to focus on specific things that are happening, that as a summary we were saying, you need a lot of participants, you need to have information certified, and you are not trying only to swap a database. I mean, you want a database that's going to be shared for all the different participants, and also you want to give access to third party. This is the main characteristic for a use case. And then when you are going through the different sectors, you will see that there are a lot of processes or product, depending on the sector that you are thinking, that blockchain can have a lot of sense in order to give this traceability. Traceability, it's something very important nowadays, because not because of the trace, but because of the data you are going to take from the traceability. Nowadays, all the companies are trying to go in a data-driven. They want to be a data-driven company. That means that they want to have data, but it is not. I mean, it's not the main important thing is to have trusted data that it's valuable. You cannot have, okay, I have thousands and millions of data that doesn't have any value for the business. Then blockchain, it's very easy and helpful for the company, because it helps you to have the data in a very secure way, to know that this data is trusted, and later on you can connect, as we were saying, with this big data and AI to use it and to make business decisions. Then when you have to think not only blockchain as a specific use case, but you have to try to be wide, to open your brain and to think, okay, how blockchain can help in the B2B business, or B2B2C, or B2C, can help to really add value, not only in terms of security, because this is clear, in terms of traceability, but try to connect. This is the important thing, to connect those technology to create more value for the business. And that's why I think, or at least I try to give you a perspective of different use cases to open your, and to give you a wide perspective about the different use cases that you can find in the real market.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Well, we are seeing him again, so prepare your questions. He will give, let's say, a brief recap of everything, and also to introduce you to Block Native. And then you're free to ask him every question that comes to mind. So we will be with him for an hour, and I leave you to study then. Thank you, Miguel. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.